Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a little bit of technical analysis on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets, and more specifically, we're going to be talking about this little pattern that we saw in yesterday's video, where I told you guys that I expected that we were about to see some kind of bearish breakout below it, possibly pushing us down towards around $3,600, which is, at the time of recording, this exactly what we've seen. Bitcoin fell just below $3,600, down here to a bottom of around $3,570, and over the last 12 hours or so, it's been gradually creeping up. But this leads us to the question, is Bitcoin going to continue south from here after this bearish breakout, or is Bitcoin about to get a bounce? Now, as you saw by the title of the video, I'm more expecting that we're going to see a little bit more bearish price action. So we're going to be discussing just how far I think Bitcoin will be going to the south side in today's videos. Without much further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get right into it. Bitcoin is currently trading around $3,607. I'm sure we would all like it to be trading around $6,000 again. Those were the days about a month and a half ago. But either way, Bitcoin is down, and that's okay. But if we go to CoinMarketCap, we're going to go ahead and do the crypto market recap. Bitcoin across all exchanges is trading close to $3,700. You have to remember there's still that about $120 discrepancy between Bitcoin's price on Bitfinex and Bitcoin's price on Coinbase and many other exchanges. So the overall Bitcoin's price is around $3,660 with a daily volume of around $5 billion. A decent day for volume. If we look at the volume candles here, nothing to really write home about. We did see a big red volume climax here after Bitcoin broke this support at 3,720. Nothing really major there on other than that, though. Bitcoin is down by about 3.5% on the day. XRP and Ethereum down close to 7%. Bitcoin Cash down in the double digits, back below $150. And if we sort by change over the last 24 hours here, we're going to see DEX, that cryptocurrency that 2 days ago I told you guys might be a good idea to get in on because it had retraced so much. It was down something like 30%. Well, 2 days ago, I said that because it was down about 30%. In yesterday's video, it was up by about 15%. And in today's video, it's up by about 40%. It's the biggest gainer today, and it is doing very, very well. That's what I was talking about, is that a lot of times when you see a cryptocurrency like Quash here be down 21%, if there isn't something fundamental with the project, they didn't change the leader, the project didn't get shut down by some government, if the project hasn't had some major fundamental problem with it, and the rest of the market isn't as red as it is, now in today's video, pretty much the entire market is red, but let's say 80% of the cryptocurrencies were in the green, and Quash was down 20% here, and there was no fundamental reason having to do with the project or with the regulations that apply to the project pushing the price action down, then a lot of times that's a good idea to buy into that market purely off of that. Now, of course, you want to do your own technical analysis, and you want to be very careful with your stop losses and whatnot, because sometimes you'll be catching a falling knife, and the market will continue to retrace. But a lot of the times you will find that if it's a decent project like PundyX has been on the market for a very long time. If it's a decent project and it's very far retraced, a lot of times it's going to get some kind of bounce after being down 15%, and you can sometimes make a little bit of juicy profit there. Anyway, with that out of the way, we do have about 6 cryptocurrencies in the red, and we do see about, in the double-digit red, and we do see 4 cryptocurrencies above 15%. Interestingly enough, we see no cryptocurrencies that are up in between 10 and 15%. We jump from a 7% gainer to Indoor Protocol up 16.6%. Anyway, if we sort by change by market capitalization again here, then we see that not a whole lot is going on. We do see pretty much the entire top 10 is in the red, except for Tether, of course, but Tether is the oddball. Tether is back to being over $1. That happened a little while ago, but I figured I'd throw that in there. Anyway, let's go ahead and get back onto the technical analysis. I think we covered everything we wanted to cover on CoinMarketCap. I can hit that little button you guys saw me fiddling with. Anyway, in yesterday's video, we talked about how it looked like Bitcoin was entering a longer-term inverse head and shoulders pattern. It's probably most visible here on the 4-hourly chart. We see that there is an inverse shoulder over here, an inverse head over here, and then another inverse shoulder over here. And one of the reasons that I expected Bitcoin would break bearish out of this little pattern right here is, one, that it's a consolidation pattern in the middle of a downtrend, which typically is called a bear flag of some type, a bear pennant, however you want to call it. It can be a bear pennant, it can be a bear flag, but the general premise of those type of formations is that if the market was moving down quite rapidly when it moved into one of these patterns, typically that indicates that the market's going to continue moving down, and that's exactly what happened. We saw a bearish breakout, and we saw Bitcoin move a little bit lower. But if you watch yesterday's video, I'll link that video on the top right and on the end card. If you watched yesterday's video, you'll notice that that's not really a bad thing that we go down here, because what that allows us to do is set a perfect shoulder line for this inverse head and shoulders pattern, because as you can see now, our touches back over here on this shoulder right here and this shoulder right here are perfectly lined up. I had a commenter a couple days ago when I was talking about the formation of this inverse head and shoulders pattern tell me that, yeah, that's not an inverse head and shoulders pattern, because the shoulders line have to line up perfectly horizontally, which, first of all, no, they don't. You're wrong. You can have an inverse head and shoulders pattern that's on on a slight tilt. That is perfectly fine. You see that kind of thing happen all the time. There's nothing wrong with having a inverse head and shoulders pattern on a slight tilt. But also, the inverse head and shoulders pattern wasn't done forming, and that's what I tried to explain to you, is that sometimes if the inverse head and shoulders pattern isn't set up properly, that simply means that it isn't done forming right now, yet. And that means that down here, since Bitcoin retraced down to around $3,570 on Coinbase anyway, on this chart, that Bitcoin has set into motion an almost perfect inverse head and shoulders pattern. Now, the fact that the neckline up here is not parallel perfectly to the shoulder line is a little concerning, but guys, we're getting into pedantics if we're going to worry about that. A lot of people are going to look at this as a bullish sign and an inverse head and shoulders pattern. But you might be wondering, Jeb, you said earlier that you thought Bitcoin was going to go lower than it already has, so what's the deal here? Do you think Bitcoin's going to break the shoulder line and ruin the inverse head and shoulders pattern? Well, I think there's an ever so slightly more likely chance that we go below here, guys. You understand that sometimes technical analysis is, it's kind of just where the market goes is kind of on a knife's edge. Sometimes you may have a turning point in the market, like let's say the market's going here and you want to decide if it's going to go up or down. And it might be 55% chance that it's going to go up and a 45% chance that it's going to go down. That's pretty much what we're looking at here. I'd give it an ever so slightly more likely chance that we're going to break the support and head a bit lower from here. But I'm not saying that that is ridiculously likely. I'm giving that about a 55% chance. I think that that's just ever so slightly more likely. There's a very good chance that Bitcoin bounces here and continues moving up and completes this inverse head and shoulders pattern. So if Bitcoin does bounce here, don't come crying to me and saying, oh, Jeb, well, you said it was going to go down. Unlike, unsub, dislike the video. I don't know what an unlike is, but either way, you're going to be mad. Don't get mad, okay? It's okay. Anyway, my point here is that Bitcoin has been trending down here over the last couple of days. Ever since before Christmas, about the 23rd, Bitcoin's been trending downward here. And Bitcoin has been trending downwards for a very long time. Of course, you guys know that we're in something called the 2018 Bitcoin bear market. And a lot of times when you're in a bear market and you see, and you're kind of on a knife's edge as to whether or not the bulls or the bears are going to be the victors, oftentimes it's going to be the bears. And that's what we see right now, is that we're kind of on this knife's edge. We have strong support down here. We have strong support, and we've formed this inverse head and shoulders pattern. But at the same time, we also have been trending downwards in a bear market for the last couple of days. And that's important because it means that the technicals are split. It means that we're having dissonance of technical analysis, which means that the levels, the technical indicators are telling us one thing and the chart formations are telling us another thing. And sometimes they're not even in agreement in there. So what does that mean? That means that Bitcoin's been trending down here over the last couple of days. And because we're in a bear market, I could very easily see Bitcoin breaking this, simply because Bitcoin has been trending downwards, and it is the tendency in a bear market for markets to break support rather than hold support. And guys, one thing you also have to realize is that Bitcoin has been in a nice little strong downtrend here over the last couple of months. Ever since we broke $6,000, the bears have been very much in control. Then the bulls had their day. We got into a little bit more control over here, up about with about a 35% gain. We saw the bulls had a little bit more of their control, but now it's kind of moving back towards the bears. And I think the bears maybe are going to hold this a little bit longer. I know you guys would like me to be a little bit more confident in my convictions here about which way the market's going to go, but that's not even really a factor of technical analysis so much as it is a factor of what the technicals are telling the technical analysts. Sometimes you have a market that is perfectly split, and maybe it's 51% chance it's going to go up and 49% chance it's going to go down, and there's no technical that is going to just shine through and tell you exactly what's going to happen. There's no crystal ball of technical analysis, guys. You have to use your gut, and you have to use your technical indicators to go ahead and tell you where the market's going to go. And if you guys are wondering why I'm not using more technical indicators, it's because not a whole lot of them are giving me a whole lot of useful data right here. One thing I can point out is that on the daily chart, the MACD right here is looking like it's about to turn bearish unless we get some kind of bounce. One thing that I could very easily see happening is Bitcoin moving up from here, the MACD line continuing up, and the signal line coming down here and bouncing off the MACD line like that. We've seen something like that happen before, and it ended up being quite bearish, or quite bullish for Bitcoin. Right over here, we saw Bitcoin was at the bottom of a downtrend. It moved up, came down, formed the shoulder line of a new inverse head and shoulders pattern, and then the MACD bounced off the signal line bounced off the MACD line and moved up with the market, and that turned out to be very, very bullish for Bitcoin. We could very easily see a repeat of this market over here. If you guys want to go and do your own technical analysis based on what we're looking at right now, I highly recommend to go back and look at the period from June all the way through the end of July. This period over here looks strikingly similar to the period that we're seeing in the market right now, which is one of the reasons why I give it a decent chance that Bitcoin does bounce here and we continue moving up. It's really really all going to depend on what happens over the next couple of days. If we break that level of support and start moving below it, you can bet your bottom dollar we're probably going towards $3,500 to $3,200, and we might be going down here to form a double bottom down here at the previous bottom of 2018. But at the same time, if we continue moving up from here, we could easily see Bitcoin moving towards much higher price targets. It'll be much easier to make a more definitive statement as to which direction the market is moving in a couple of days when the market has developed a little bit more in relation to the technical indicators and the technical analysis and the chart formations that we are looking at here in today's video. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed today's video, definitely consider dropping a like, hitting that subscribe button, and smashing the notification bell, guys. It does help out the channel if you do it, and everybody would be appreciative if you did it. I'm just kidding, only me, nobody else cares, but I do appreciate it if you do it. Also, if you guys want to learn how to do technical analysis, there's a link to check out the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy in the description down below. I poured my heart and soul into that project, guys, and I do think it's a very good product. It's $149, and I think you guys would absolutely love being in it. I have a lot of people in the course, and they all seem to love it. Good project. If you want to check out what we have to offer, links in the description. Anyway, guys, like I said, tell me in the comment section down below what you think of today's technical analysis. Is Bitcoin going to bounce here and start moving to the upside, or is Bitcoin going to bounce off of nothing? Is it going to break resistance and start moving to the downside? I don't know. I was trying to save myself there because I said bounce. I didn't mean bounce. I couldn't think of a way to do it. Anyway, tell me which direction you think the market's going to go in, guys. I do apologize that the video is a little bit shorter. Not a whole lot to discuss in today's video, but I did want to give you guys that daily update so we could get to the bottom of which direction the market's going to be going. Anyway, guys, that is going to finally do it for today's video. I do want to thank each and every single one of you for watching as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.